Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Intentional Living Podcast with me, Marty Keller, here in Sacramento, and two of our regulars, Mr. John Donovan down in Oceanside, and Mr. Dan Gutierrez, also here in Sacramento. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
Marty. How are you?
Doing good. For those of
Good.
you who might be here for the first time, this is the Intentional Living Podcast, in which we take a look at breaking patterns of behaviors that we say we don't want and nonetheless continue to manifest. So, for example, have you ever hurt someone you loved and later regretted it and then hurt them again in the same way? Have you
hmm
ever realized in the middle of an argument with someone that you were on the wrong side of that argument and continued to argue it anyway? Or
Yeah.
have you ever known that you were about to do or say something that you would regret? Maybe even heard a little voice in your head saying, "Don't go there." And yet you found yourself unable or unwilling to stop? Well, in this podcast, we examine and uncover subconscious obstacles to the life that we truly want and our deepest heart's desires. And we learn to make a different relationship with those obstacles. Rather than fighting them, we might learn to befriend them and make them allies in manifesting the life that we really want to live. And
Mm.
so that's the intentional living process. That's what we talk about here. And as my friends here know, John and I started back in August of last year, a look at what we call the accountability practice principles. They're a list of some 20, 24. I forget even how many there are, John. Um,
Yeah, the bullet point.
we keep adding to them, but they're a list of
Yeah.
principles that we find practical and valuable in doing the practice of dealing with the subconscious, bringing that subconscious realm into our awareness, and then basically doing some reprogramming of that subconscious. And these principles have helped us do it. And I'm going to just throw them up on the screens just to give particularly newcomers just a chance to see what the heck we're talking about.
Yeah.
And so we have that might be fun just to review them. So these are in no particular order of importance. The last one on the list is as important to me, in my opinion, as the first one. But they're just in the way that we thought about them and added to this list over time. So the first one says, I'm always getting what I want. It's never about the other person. And related to that, the issue is not the issue. People treat me the way I want them to. The quality of my life is determined by the focus of my attention. Life happens for me, not to me. What I resist persists. Hurt people hurt people. The world outside me is but a reflection of the world inside me. And related to that, life is lived from the inside out. One of my favorites, it doesn't have to make sense. Trust the
Right.
body, right? Excuse me, blame free, judgment free. Healing is contagious. The more conscious we are of what we choose, the more powerful the choice. Every thought has a corresponding body sensation. Personalize everything, and don't take anything personally. The answer is not the answer. I cannot not feel. I'm always feeling something. What you hate, you become. What you fight against, you strengthen. And yet nothing is wrong. And when I'm defending myself, I'm participating in my own oppression. Just because I think it doesn't mean it's true. And these principles are designed to lead to freedom. So we did a podcast, you and I, and Dan, you and I have talked about some of these things as well over the past 9 months on each one of these. For those of you who are listening and want to dig deeper into any one of them, just check out the in the video section of our Intentional Living YouTube page, and you can find um, discussions of each one of these. And some of them we even did two podcasts on because they were that important, or they had that there's so much to say about them. So I'm going to stop there and just first of all, Dan is our guest on this particular podcast. Just like to ask you've been working with this um, practice for a long time. You've been facilitating meetings for a long time, working with people, helping them see what's going on inside their own consciousness. You just like to get your general thoughts about the principles.
Um, well, for me, they're a guidepost of how to do this work. Um, there's uh, there's four that I usually start off with. Number one, uh, it's never about the other person, which brings it directly back to me. Uh, Second one is what I believe the issue. The issue is not the issue. The next step is to start owning my projections. I don't see that on there, but um, that's the next step for me. I don't know if that's on there, but
No.
Well,
and then
I think that's in this principle. The world outside me is but a reflection inside of me.
okay.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one is to remind myself the world out, the quality of my life is determined by the focus of my attention. That's kind of like the four-step process I have, which brings me back to me, my thinking, um, and that's where I start. So whatever I'm dealing with, those are the four things um, that I use to center myself, find, give myself a place to start, or that's where I start everybody off at. Uh, it's like yeah, it's never about the other person. So let's just turn the focus back to you, and whatever issue you think you have, an issue, there's something else going on, and what are you know, what are let's start owning your projections of the other people if you believe that the other people are doing whatever they're doing. And then always remember the quality of my life is determined by the focus of my attention. Where am I focusing my attention on? That gives me insight to my thinking. Uh, if I'm being pessimistic versus optimistic, it's not a judgment of where my thinking is. I just need to know where my thinking is. And that gets me centered and gives me deep insight into what's going on, or you know what's going on with me, and then I go from there. So I don't know how anybody else does it, but that's kind of like the four-step centering process that I do when I have an issue with something, whether it be my job, or some somebody driving down the road, or the VA, or my 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 intimate partner here. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but uh, for me, the most important one, it's never about the other person. If I were going to pick one, that's the go-to. No matter what's happening, it's not about them, and that brings me back to myself. And then how do I work with myself? And it's like, okay, whatever I'm thinking, the issue is not the issue. Let's start owning our projections, and then let's figure out where I'm thinking, where my focus is. What am I trying to do? Uh, Whatever it is. So that's what I got.
Mm.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you. John, your thoughts?
You know, we talked about favorite, and I've got a couple. The one that when I realized it was a profound healing. Actually, is that you become what you hate, um, and that happened with me. Yeah, what you hate, you become. When I realized that I had I was about 45 years old, and I realized I was just like my father. And I did not like my father. I was like, in fact, my conscious thought about my father is, I'll never be like him. So, and the other one is, the issue is never the issue. It's like when I first heard that in my recovery process, and it wasn't said just like the issue is never the issue. I made an agreement when I was in the Man Alive class. I agreed to disclose 100% of what I need 100% of the time without the expectation of getting it. And that made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. It's like, why would I ask for something if I didn't expect to get it? And each one of these things works well in different situations, especially as a facilitator, to bring these up. They're like, I don't know if this is true, but I just thought about this. They're a step up from a Zen koan, like the Zen koan. What's the sound of one hand slapping? Well, that is designed to stop you and stop the chatter and center. And then I would contemplate that for a while, and then I'd say, I don't care. And then one day that thought came to me, what's the sound of one hand clapping? Well, I just decided it's nothing. I'm moving on. It's nothing. So, and us three, we're throwing these sayings around, and I know that each one of these principles is something that I believe, that I know to be true. And one of the ones you brought this up, I think, Marty, when you would say nothing is wrong. Well, even as much as, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, when I heard you say that, I had issue with that. It was like, wait a minute, something's wrong. And then I thought about, well, wait a minute, it's not about blame or judgment. Oh, wrong is a judgment. Now, it's not saying nothing hurts, because things certainly hurt. And then we know that pain is a indicator of focus or concentration or focus on relief. So there's this, pain's not wrong. So it took me a while to get, no matter what's going on in my life, with myself or with the people around me, that everything is happening exactly as it's happening. And what's my action going to be? It's Eckhart Tolle talked about, people railing against reality, like it should be this way, or the traffic's too slow, and and they're railing against reality instead of accepting reality, then asking themselves, what do they want? Or just accepting reality, which puts you in a different space. And all of these, when I know that somebody first hears them, I don't know if it shocks them or they just like have an attitude like, I don't know, if you sound crazy. What do you mean the issue is not the issue? That guy just tried to punch me. And then we get into dialogue. Then we start talking about how we all participate in our relationships, about the concept of victim, perpetrator. If I'm seeing myself as a victim, then I'm posturing as a victim. I can do that, or I can choose to accept things the way they are and ask for what I need. And I know us even talking about it, especially for new people, it's like, how do they do that? I remember you asking me one time, how's it going? And I said, oh, I'm reveling in my character defects. It's like, what? Oh, wait a minute. If I find a character defect, like I'm judging somebody, like I objectified somebody, I call somebody an idiot, in that reaction, I now know that that is an opportunity to heal something in my subconscious that's driving the bus. And I can go get that, whatever that trauma was that came out sideways in whatever situation I find myself in, whether it's on the road, whether it's talking to my daughters, whether it's whatever it may. Playing golf. That's another one that I don't know if we don't have it in there. We might add it to it. The golf ball never lies. That could be one of our principles.
That might be an overarching principle.
Yeah, yeah. So these are designed just like that last bullet point says. These principles are designed to lead me to freedom. And when somebody first gets into one of our groups or my group, and I start talking about primary organ dysfunction, subconscious pool of trauma that's influencing my choices that led me to where I'm at, it's like there's the frame of reference that people come into, and I came into my own recovery, the frame of reference that I have, my experience, I don't have any connecting dot points. I can make that make sense. So we made one of our principles. It doesn't have to make sense. In fact, if it does make sense to you and you're new to this, I'm going to stop saying it because it's something you already know, and everything you know got you here. So we got to get out of the frame of reference. Yeah, it doesn't have to make sense. So, and each one of these, depending on where we're at in the dialogue, or where our clients might be, the people that come to the group, wherever they might be, these are prompts for dialogue. And like, what do you mean by that? I don't understand what you're saying. And then we get into dialogue. So it's, and it's been good fodder for the last, 9 months that we've been talking about this. And I think we added one today. The golf ball never lies. And there might be another one that come up
well, I'm glad you said
ahead.
that, because I actually want to challenge us to come up with one, but I'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay, good. So when I was in jail, I had a list of these started, and the guys would say, actually a guy made a list of these things that he heard me say, and he had under John's truisms. Well, I'll take credit for it. Yeah, but the one which you resist persists has been a long-lived principle. What you resist persists. And then when we get into a dialogue about what are we really talking, what does resistance mean? How does that appear in a emotional, spiritual, or physical aspect? What does that really mean? What does resistance feel like? If that resistance is there, what is it telling you? So the conversation expands to include a better awareness of how I'm comporting myself, I don't know if comporting is the right word, how I'm posturing, maybe, how I'm presenting, how I present as a whole picture, with my words, my tone inflection, and my body language as I'm communicating or participating in an event or situation. Okay, I'll take a breath. I love being in this space where we get into dialogue about these principles, what we're calling principles. I have on my license plate, you know how they have that frame around the license plate? I had a custom one made for my back license plate. It's never about on the top the other person, and I made it as big a font as that little thing would hold. And it's on my back license plate. So when somebody comes up on me, or I, pull up on somebody or cut them, whatever they think I'm doing, they can read that sign. It's never about the old guy in the car in front of you, which happens to be me. So,
Cool.
I use these principles to shortcut the dialogue. Somebody's
yeah,
telling me a story, and then
yeah.
they keep talking about the story over and over and over, and it's just like, okay, what you fight, you strengthen, or
Yep.
what you resist, persist, and then I just stop,
Mhm.
and then they keep on going, blah blah blah, and then it's just life happens for me, not to me.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Yep. Yeah. That's that. That's that log in the road you're speeding down. It's like you got to like stop and reconsider what you're doing here. And everybody comes in there with something they're looking for. So any information to assist our people that come into the groups, whether it's to be violent free, whether it's to be free of compulsive obsessive thinking or an addiction, or a situation they find in their lives that happens over and over, like in relationships, or issues with mom, dad, family, brother, sister, cousins, and this brings clarity and relief from old chronic patterns that get broken. The patterns actually get broken. We develop new patterns, but generally they're
Right.
more livable. My new patterns are more livable than my old patterns, and sometimes with my new patterns, I get stuck in another pattern, and I go back to, okay, here I am again doing resisting something, or one of these works for me now, even after 28 years of doing the accountability tree and 38 years of recovery. I still need these principles and this practice to stay on course where I say I want to be. Or I remember that my conscious focus determines my experience of whatever event I'm in. So if I walk into a situation and I don't have a conscious focus and find myself at odds, or in an argument, or finding resistance or discordance, some kind of discordance in whatever relationship, I have direction to bring it back to me,
Right.
re-examine what happened, how I participated in it. Maybe there's a remnant of an old trauma that I thought I got, still kind of like eating away in there, so I can address it. And I address it by telling the truth of where I find myself, and using the I want to say wisdom that came from even discussing these principles, or having, I don't know, if having the audacity to say something like the world outside of me is but a reflection of the world inside of me, to somebody, in group, in a public place, and then see what happens. It's like, yeah, these talking about these principles, the intentional living, the accountability tree process, and other techniques we have at ferreting out unresolved complex post-traumatic stress have brought me to a life I never knew possible, and I know there's more. And I'm gonna and I tell people I've had my head down in my recovery for 38 years, and there's no plan on taking it up. I'm staying on this path because I see the value in it and what it brings me. So, and the value and the relief that it brings to the people around me. So,
Thanks for that. I've got a couple I want to just note. The one that really changed my life is we call it here, it's blame free, judgment free. I'd like to find a way to rewrite that with a verb in there, but we used to call it no blame, no judgment, and it was part of the accountability tree itself.
yeah.
And I remember, I've said this on the podcast before, there was a time when you and I and Dan and men that were in the men's group that you were facilitating started working together. And we were doing that conversation that Dan inferred earlier about projection. And it was, what are you upset about? Well, that guy's an asshole or whatever. You would do that old, are you willing to consider that you're an asshole?
Right.
And that was teaching me about projection. And I remember whatever it was, I don't know if asshole was the judgment I was projecting onto someone else, but it was something vile and nasty.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the first time I ever heard you say that to anybody. Maybe it was the first time, maybe you'd said it to others, and it just went over my head in that great way that we can block out stuff. But there was no running or hiding on that one. So you said, were you willing to consider that you are whatever the judgment was? And I remember sitting there and I had two simultaneous experiences. Number one was I'm not going to say that about myself, and just feeling, I don't know if it was fear or some kind of powerful response that said, don't go there. But at the same time, I had this insights like, I can say this without blame or judgment. I can actually practice this. I can just suspend all of the inner judgment and just say it without it. I can allow it to mean nothing other than I'm saying this out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took a risk and I said, okay, I'm a whatever. And I couldn't have done that without that principle. I couldn't have done it without something to hang my fear on or my reluctance on that said there's nothing. This is related, I think, John, to nothing's wrong. There's nothing wrong here. I can just say it. It's just words.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in the process, when we do the accountability tree and we say these words, there's going to be a reaction. I didn't know what it was, and I couldn't have known what it was unless I took the risk to just say it.
Correct.
And then feel that emotion, whatever's probably relief or shame or something came up after, when I said those words. But it was the breakthrough, it was the willingness to consider the possibility that there's nothing wrong. I'm not going to blame myself. I'm not going to judge myself. This may be true. And so what? And so for me, that was the principle that I mean, all these principles, I love them, and I use them in all different parts of my life in different times. But that was the one that was the breakthrough for me. Learning to goes back up to the top. Learning to if it's not about the other person, then it's about me. And if I consider me, can I do it without making myself a bad person?
Mm-hmm.
And so once I learned that I could do that, once I learned that I could look at my behaviors and my beliefs and my emotional responses dispassionately, that I could relieve myself of making them a burden or making them shameful or um, making them an obstacle, then I was out of prison.
Yes.
It's like we say at the very bottom here, this could lead me to freedom. I didn't
Correct.
know it at the time. I was just I was just trying to learn the practice. And I was probably a little part of me was trying to please you and the group and do it right and all that kind of stuff. But um, that was, to me, that was the most powerful one in the beginning.
Yeah.
For me, that no blame, no judgment. If I can't do it, or there's a lot of energy around it, then I'm back into the family of origin
Yep.
dysfunction, childhood trauma. If
Mm-hmm.
I can't say the words, I've acted like an asshole too, or I've been an asshole. I've been conditioned that if I say those things, then I'm a bad person.
Yep. And I'll be
It's
ostracized or
exactly
punished or,
it's shame based. I
yep.
can't admit to that. I will be exiled. I will
Yep.
be removed from safety. My attachment is being threatened at that moment if I say that.
Yeah.
The one that I didn't want to say ownership of a character defect was needy. I remember thinking, "Oh shit, I'm needy," and it was like, that was the last thing I ever wanted to be, because I had berated and humiliated and ridiculed and teased and people I thought were weaker, and needy is weak.
Ooh.
Well, that's another one, weak. I'm weak. But that needy, it's like, no. And then when I did, like, just took, okay, I want something different. So I'm needy. And I took the breath, and in the breath, I'm actually concentrated, thinking about moving the muscles and the everything that needs to happen to breathe. I'm not in my rational mind, cognitive, critical mind. And that feeling came of, I don't know how many things happened in my childhood that led me to the belief that became subconscious, that I projected out on needy people, weak ass people, instead of seeing that that's actually what I really believed about myself in my subconscious. So it wasn't, oh, John, do you think you're needy? Well, heck no. Are you kidding me? Look at me. There's nothing I need. Oh, you need some help? I got all kinds of stuff I can help you. I'm not needy. And yet that little boy was screaming inside for attention, compassion, for validation. And then when I said I'm needy, that little guy goes, oh, finally, you're going to stop this bullshit. Pay attention to me. It hurts down here. And then I say, I intend to stand in my power. I intend to find my voice, whatever the intent is that shifts it. So, yeah, these are the intentional living and the accountability tree process, and what would you call it, Marty? I call it my body of work. Is there another way to like a philosophy? I don't know if philosophy would work. It's what I know to be true. I can see what's going on inside me by owning the perception of what I see outside me. That is an absolute truth for me. And now the bigger it gets, the more difficult it is to like figure it out. Like we get out on a national political scale, it gets difficult to own all that mayhem and accusations and all that. And I know it's true. And I'm working on what I'm capable, or what my sphere of my capacity is in the moment. So it's all true. So it's I don't know. I've thought about this before. I call it my body of work. That may be appropriate. I'm not sure.
Well, it's a start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think of, I like the word practice. There's a practice that has a certain, in this work, it has a certain form, a certain formula. It has a certain formation, the accountability tree. It's actually a practice that has a beginning and an end. It has form. Do this, and if you do this, you will get this response.
Right. Yeah.
It's an injunction, is another way of saying it. And this is incredibly parallel to all of the great religious traditions. If you want to know God, do this. This is just,
Right.
from my understanding of studying human history, this is just the most practical version of that I've discovered. But the Hindus had the same thing. You want to, or the Buddha, if you want to achieve nirvana, you do this. It's not a doctrine, it's a practice. It's a doing. And all of these principles help us appreciate they're either how to do the practice or to understand why we do the practice.
Yeah, and the benefit of practice. Yes.
Right.
So I like that. Practical. It's a body of work that takes the ethereal spirituality into practical logistics. Is how it's like you said, it's got a beginning. I'm here. I'm struggling with this. If I own how I'm perceiving and what I see in you, it's like, oh my God. And then own that.
Or in our fathers.
And that result is I can now use my rational mind to see the difference, the degree of change, or the
Yep.
and it's practical. It's demonstrable. It's the scientific method, um, without all the science and physics books. It's just do this. This will be different. Notice it. If you want more different, do it again.
And so it becomes measurable. You can actually measure that difference.
Yes.
You can say,
and I'm
okay,
the one that's
go ahead.
I'm the one that's measuring it.
Right.
And other people, I was playing cards with my brother one time, and I had done this work, and I hadn't seen him for a while. And we were playing pinochle, and usually when he had a good hand or he won, I would berate him or say the cards are, he just got good cards. It's not that he's smart; he just got good cards. The cards played themselves. I'd say mean stuff like that. And I looked at him, and he played a really good hand. And I said, "Well done, brother." And he goes, "You're a changed man. You're a changed man," because I didn't do what I normally do, which is some kind of berating or make it about something else instead of giving him credit for how well he played. And he did that really well. He almost ran the whole deck. It was like I was impressed.
Wow.
So,
Well, how many times have you gentlemen, as a facilitator or someone doing one-on-one work with somebody, heard them say something like this? This is an experience I had with somebody. He said, I found myself on the phone with my sister, and she said something that normally I would have said, shut up. And I found myself not saying that. And I found myself noticing I wanted to say that,
right.
and I said something else. I said, would you be
Yep.
willing to consider that's recovery?
That's recovery. That's what you're looking for. That's a
actually
result.
happened. That's what you said you wanted, and look at what you did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Working
a
out. Yeah.
direct result of your intent.
Right.
And, so.
Well, that's the one I wanted to raise about the possibility of adding a principle here, which is around intention. I don't see anything in this list around the power of intention. And yet intention is integral to our work here.
One of the things I find myself saying in class is that if you do not have a conscious intention, your subconscious has an intention.
Right.
And it led you right in this shithole you find yourself in. This doesn't happen all by itself. There's an intent behind it. Only that intent was in the subconscious, unresolved, complex post-traumatic stress. So I don't know if we can make that short.
Well, that's implied in I'm always getting what I want, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what I want to do is can we create a principle or specify a principle about the conscious application of intention? I create the life I want through conscious intention, or something like that.
Yeah.
What I think about, I bring about. Thoughts become things.
Thus become focus materializes. The word materialize. Yeah. Manifest.
Focus and attention equals manifestation.
I like that. Focus and what you pay attention to manifests. Oh, you cannot. Do we got it in there? You cannot not manifest.
Yeah. I don't know out of all these principles, the one that is the I don't know the trump card, not President Trump, but life happens for me, not to me. No matter what I'm going through, I don't care. I goddamn this and screw that, and it's just like life's working for you, Dan. Life is happening for you, and
no matter what it looks like.
No matter what it looks like, it's just you slow down. Wipe the glasses, clear out the ears, pay attention, because there's a lesson for you. And the issue is not the issue. Own your projections. and it's never about the other person. And the quality of your life is determined by what you focus on. And do you like being pissed off and agitated? In this moment, yes. All right. Well, how do you want to be in the next 10 minutes? I intend to be present, calm, and compassionate. All right.
I got one. Connection to my emotional body, connection to the emotional body enables fierceness. That stopped the show.
Okay.
The other one is kindness is wielded with a double-edged sword.
That's for sure. So is that
And there may be something.
Is that a principle, do you think, of the practice? Tell me more.
Probably not.
Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I used to think kindness was letting everybody slide or okay or be nice. Don't rock the boat, you know. And I've discovered that me telling somebody something blunt about themselves, or saying no to somebody where I would normally be a codependent or an enabler, and say, it's okay, you can do whatever you're doing. It's when it's actually in my best interest and in their best interest for me to be set a healthy boundary. And it may seem cruel to the other person, but it's actually an act of kindness.
Well, it's related to tough love, the old concept of tough love, right?
Yeah, it is. So,
well, what's the one you've discussed, or maybe Dan, this is you've said this about truth without something.
Truth without compassion is cruelty.
That's one we could add. Truth with compassion is honesty. Yeah, that's I use that one a lot, especially when someone says, "I tend to be honest."
How does it go?
It all depends which one you want.
Truth with compassion is honesty. Truth without compassion is cruelty. Like you can tell someone, "Oh, you're fat," or you can say, "I'm concerned about your weight."
Yep.
One's honest, the other one can be seen as cruel. Well, it is cruel. It's objectifying somebody, making them what their body instead of who they are inside.
Well, I got one. Feedback without permission is violence.
Oh, shit. Yeah. 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 I always ask my daughters, they're talking to me and I go, "Oh, okay, what do you want? You want me to listen? Do you want feedback? Or do you want to process?" I let them choose. But if I just go, it's redefining their reality or judging them or attacking, and whether
coming
my
from
motivation,
a superior place.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Say that again, Dan.
It goes back to you don't need my help.
Right.
Then it becomes a me issue. Why am I trying to help you? What's going on with me?
I'd like to put that in there. Nobody needs your help. Now, if my daughter's in the swimming pool drowning, I'm gonna jump in. You know what I mean?
That's a righteous rescue.
Okay, yeah, that's all right. But it starts a conversation in the therapeutic field where, or in the, in a 12 step where we're there to support each other. It's different than helping. Helping is a condescending attitude with the prerequisite that you're lower than I am and I'm going to help you. And in regular using that word in regular conversation it's okay. It's like I'm going to help you fix the car, or but in the context of relationships or therapeutic relationships, my concept of helping you puts up a barrier between us so that it makes it more difficult for expansion.
The
That's
challenge,
the
the challenge
that's
is,
a powerful dynamic. That's the
yeah,
dynamic. That's the superiority versus the inferiority. Uh, it gives
Yeah.
me the power because I know I'm righteous with
Mm-hmm.
wisdom, and you need it.
Yeah.
The one that says that there, so for me, I teach that one. Nobody needs my help, and everybody looks at me. Well, we need your help, and I go, what that teaches me, what that taught me, is that if I want help, I have to speak up. I have to ask for it.
There you go.
If I'm sitting in the classroom waiting to have the answer come to me, that's the old paradigm. If you want to empower people, instill in them, it's they need to be accountable for what they want.
Mm-hmm.
for me, this all goes back to that mistaken belief that I used to have that I'm broken and I need to be fixed. And then
There you go.
then I would project that onto every broken thing I saw out there.
Yeah.
And that I needed to help you so that
Yeah.
I would feel better,
Yes.
not so that you would be better. It's
Right.
This goes
That's
back to it's never about the
codependency.
other person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's what,
That's one thing I've learned in this work, John, is that I never I notice whenever I have that compulsion to quote help somebody and I don't do it. I just wait and see if the person wants my help.
yeah,
If the
correct.
person asks me for my help and I'm capable of giving it, I will gladly, cheerfully do so.
Yeah. I use this with my grandson. He'll be struggling with some construction, something, and I go, if you need help, just ask me. He goes, I'm good, Grandpa. And then every once in a while, he'll go, Grandpa, I need your help, and then I'll assist him. I wanted to comment on that. Feedback without permission is violence, and you said it. You've heard me say it to you, and you expressed it today when I said to you in a very tense situation, would you be willing to consider? I preempted whatever statement or question I had. Would you be willing to hear a question I have? Would you be willing to consider? That gives a person choice instead of all you got to do is just say it and it'll be okay. No, would you be willing to drop your judgment and just say it and see what happens? That I couch a lot of what I say. Would you be willing? I did that with my daughters so much that they just told me, Dad, you don't have to waste your breath on would you be willing, because we know that you're asking us and we could say no. But it took a while.
Yeah, and people always go, "Well, you don't have to ask me. I'm giving you permission." And it's just like, okay, it's not about you.
Right. Yep.
This is
Yeah.
what this is what I do, and I appreciate your level of trust in me, and I'm still going to ask your permission when I have a question.
Right. I got that from Man Alive. No unsolicited advice, opinions, or judgments,
Yep. Or contesting questions.
or contesting questions. Ooh, there you go. Put that one in there. No unsolicited advice, opinion. We'll steal that right from Man Alive. No unsolicited advice,
Uh,
opinions, judgments, or contesting questions.
and what I get a lot too is they, Dan, give me some advice. And
Well,
I go, no. And you know
no.
what I will do? I'll give you three options and I'll let you choose which one works best for you. And
Yep.
then if it works, then it's then you're accountable for your choices. If it doesn't work, I don't want you to come back to me and say, Dan said this and it didn't work. You didn't
Yeah.
learn anything.
Right.
And that's not what I'm about.
Right.
I'm missing one. No advice, something, and contesting questions.
Where you got no unsolicited advice, opinions, or judgments.
Judgments. It's no unsolicited judgments, opinions, advice, and contesting questions.
Okay.
Yep. There you go.
The thing about this all is, just for the newcomer who's maybe wondering what these people are talking about. For me, all of this goes back to childhood and the unvarnished and casual application of coercion to us as little kids,
Yep.
that we learned to use coercion and violence because no one taught us how to be free, open, and voluntary.
Yes.
And
Spontaneous.
there can't be growth, there can't be spiritual and psychological growth and maturity with compulsion. It cannot be done. It
Mm-mm.
has to be voluntary. It has to be free. It has to be liberated. It has to be freely chosen, or it's not authentic. And if it's not authentic, it's always going to revert back to that subconscious childhood emotional environment.
Yep.
And so for me, all of these things that we've been talking about are just essential. They're essential to my own freedom. They're essential to my own self-authorship. Any place that there's compulsion, it loses the authenticity and it loses the power. It loses the genuineness. And I don't like that.
So what just came to me is this is what somebody who's trying to create a safe attachment would say to that person, to that little
Yeah.
kid.
Well said. Yes. Yes.
This
Dan.
is this is not, uh, just because you just because I think it doesn't mean it's true. And that's feedback without permission is violence. This would be me trying to create a safe attachment with a child.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
And
one put
this
that
is
as
safety.
like
This creates safety.
for growth, for
Well,
self-discovery.
you're creating you're literally creating the environment for growth. A safe environment for that little kid to explore or try
Play.
something, fail, come back, cry,
Play.
and then you're there with, oh, do you need my help? Or,
You're not doing it right. You're not playing with those toys the right way. The cars go that way
yep,
where the headlights are supposed to be. All that.
yeah. I mean, to me, I mean, this is where I'm going with this work is that when I'm doing a group or with myself, I'm trying to create safety in that environment. How do I create safety in the environment for people to be vulnerable expose themselves without fear of being criticized and put down. And these things help me do it. These principles, life happens for you, not to you. That's not a criticism. That's there's a lesson here if we have the capacity or we're in a safe space to explore and expand what's happening and have a dialogue about what happened.
Yeah, so that we can shift from a stance of fear to a stance of joy in our inner world, an orientation.
I mean, it gives you sometimes it's just very the slightest thing can sets me off, and it's just like, wow, did you remember to do that? And it's like, all of a sudden I'm over there thumping my chest. It's like, well, of course I did. You don't have to tell me more than once. And it's just like, oh, okay, there I am. I'm 5 years old again. And my mom just asked me, if I, did I remember to tie my shoes? And it's, of course I did. I don't even have to look. Well, your shoe's untied. No, it's not. Like, holy. Okay, the issue's not the issue. What's going on here? Oh, shit. It's never about your mother. I'm in fear. I'm terrified of being criticized. Any slight questioning of my character or is a, it's like, wow.
I got one that I'd like to run by. I don't know if it's a principle. I don't know if it would, and I'm looking at perception is action predicated by emotion. Let me look it up, make sure. Yeah. Perception is action predicated by emotion. Does that sound like a principle or?
Well, I don't know what it means.
Oh, that's a principle then. Okay. Perception, we talk about perception.
Right. That involves a lot.
Perception is an action. For me to perceive, a lot of things have to be working, sight, hearing, all together. It's an orientation action. Perception, my perception of my relationship with me to myself, that's active. That's action. That's me in life. So just the idea of perception is action. It's orienting. Like if we heard a big noise, our perception would shift, and that's the action we're taking through our capacity to perceive. That action is predicated by emotion. Emotions first, and then action, or relating to self or others.
So are you saying emotion determines what I perceive or how I perceive?
Yeah, yes, that'd be one way to put it. And in that principle, predicated by emotions, allows us to get into a conversation about what we really mean by emotional body or emotions itself, and what I mean by how I perceive. How I perceive what? How I perceive my death. It's an action. There's emotion happening as I'm perceiving. It's action. It's not static.
I'm trying to reduce it to something a little less philosophically formal.
Yeah, and my perception is based on my conscious and subconscious experiences too.
So how about this? What I perceive is determined by what I feel?
That's partially true.
I'm saying what you perceive is the result of feeling.
Right. It's determined. Feeling, or I could say what I feel determines what I perceive.
Yeah, something like that. That would get the conversation going. Because if you'd asked me 30 years ago, what do you feel? I would have said, what's that got to do with anything? When now I know now that it has to do with everything. My sense, feeling, tone predicts my action.
All right. Well, guys, John, we just the three of us have just decided a whole bunch of more podcasts we get to do.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I mean that, oh boy.
It's a full employment act, so that's good.
Yeah,
But we're running out of time here, so I want to wrap it up.
Okay.
And first of all, I just want to thank you guys for being part of this great conversation. And if those of you who are watching, if you stuck it out to the very end, I hope that you find something valuable, interesting, or frustrating and angering. And if particularly if it's one of the latter two, leave a note in the comments on the YouTube page, and we'll follow up with you about it. So let's before we let's wrap up by noting that we do this practice that we've been talking about practice. So it's done in group, and the groups are facilitated by John on Saturday mornings, Dan on Monday nights, myself on Thursday afternoons, and our colleague Rodney on Thursday evenings. And the information about how to join these meetings, which are all on Zoom, is going to be at the end of the podcast. So please feel free to check it out and come and join us. You could even come and ask questions about these principles or offer other ones. We're open to that conversation. So we welcome you, invite you to join us and learn about the practice. And so before we close it down, Dan, last thoughts and comments, and then I'll ask John the same question.
I intend to be the gift that I am.
Oh, I like that.
Thank you. John?
I just say, if you're inclined, come to one of the meetings and let's see what happens. You can blank your screen, put yourself on mute, see if what we do talk about has any value for you, and if there is, you can participate with us. Yeah.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, as always, I've enjoyed our time together, and I look forward to the next time. And thanks everybody for joining us. Just don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the YouTube screen, and help us spread the news. And with that, guys, we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marty.
Thanks, John. Marty.